Hello again, everybody. It is your boy John, the Icon Jonny K, and it is time once again for WrestleScope Weekly for the week of May 14th, 2022. Thank you very much for tuning in wherever you may be watching or listening to this fantastic broadcast. If you are watching on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook Live, or TikTok, greatly appreciate it. And as always, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you can be updated every time we go live with something new. And also, if you are listening to the weekly podcast, wherever you may be listening, please subscribe to this channel and also like the audio broadcast. So would greatly appreciate it. For the audio podcast listeners, I need to apologize that last week's show did not get uploaded. I had some technical difficulties here in the studio, and then quite honestly ended up forgetting about it until Thursday. So I opted not to upload last week's broadcast into the queue. So you're going to be missing an episode. I apologize. Hello to my friends on TikTok. I forgot to hit the go live button. So it has been a busy week here in the world of professional wrestling. And you'll notice here on the live stream that we've hit day 74. We're one away from 75, 3/4 of the way to 100. And yeah. Going to keep going, going to keep plugging away. I'm still working on trying to figure out what would be day 80 next week, this coming Friday. Trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to pull that off, but we will. We'll talk about that later on in the show. Lots of things to jump into. Let me go ahead and put this in now for those of you that are watching this live on Saturday evening. Don't forget, you can send me an email to WrestleScopeTV@gmail.com for the Ask John Anything segment. And if you're watching this on replay, if you're listening to this on the audio podcast, you can also send one in for next week. I will get to those next week as well. You can do it again, WrestleScopeTV@gmail.com. We'll have that coming up a little bit later in the broadcast. I'm going to jump back to 7 days ago, WrestleMania Backlash. We're not going to talk about specific matches or anything else, but I've been saying it all week long. I'm going to say it again. WrestleMania Backlash was a much better show than I thought it was going to be. I went into last weekend thinking it wasn't going to be that great of a show. And I did not watch it live again because it was on Mother's Day. Just couldn't do it. Could not do it. Ended up watching it on replay on Monday. And I do have a little bit of a gripe with Peacock that they actually edit down the broadcast, that you don't see a lot of the promos and filler things that you would see on the live broadcast. You don't see that on the replay for whatever reason. Excuse me. So, again, I thought it was a good pay-per-view. 4 of the matches were matches that I've already said I would most certainly watch again. I would definitely watch them again. Cody and Seth for the second time around, definitely. Charlotte versus Ronda. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I would watch that one again. Edge versus AJ Styles, and the 6-man tag, the main event, the show, was a really good match. 4 out of those 6 I would watch again. And WWE did a nice job of putting together a B-level pay-per-view and making it an entertaining show. Now, this week, they haven't really followed up well, because right now it's looking like Hell in a Cell is going to be Hell in a WrestleMania Backlash cell, as we're going to get Cody versus Seth 3. We're possibly going to get Baron Corbin versus Madcap Moss again, though playing off the injury angle from last night, don't know how long Madcap Moss is going to be out. I would think he'd be back in time for Hell in a Cell. We're going to get some iteration of probably AJ Styles and Finn Balor versus Edge and Damian Priest. So it's really continuing on with that. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something, depending on how deep they want to go with matches. We'll probably end up with something with Fight Night and the New Day. We're most likely going to get the Bloodline versus RK Bro again, the Usos versus RK Bro, because I honestly think, and this is kind of merging subjects here, I think if we do end up getting that tag team unification match next week, it's not going to be a clean finish. It's going to be DQ, double count out, something that ends up happening. It is not going to be a clean match for the championships. They're not going to pull that off on SmackDown. Now, we will get, most likely, I'm thinking we're going to get a triple threat for the Raw Women's Championship, Bianca, Becky, and Asuka. For the SmackDown Women's Championship, I don't know. I mean, it was nice to see Raquel Rodriguez get a shot in what was a pretty good TV match with Ronda Rousey. The promo at the beginning of it was not good, but the match itself was good. I don't know. It just seems like we're going to get a lot of the same thing again for Hell in a Cell. And it really makes me wonder what WWE is thinking with their booking, why they are continuing to do this. Now, it does appear that Roman Reigns is off of Hell in a Cell. He has been taken off of the promotional posters, and that goes into the next topic here of Roman Reigns. Is he now the part-time tribal chief? It was reported this past week by Dave Meltzer and corroborated by Fightful Select that Roman Reigns has agreed to a new deal with WWE where he is going to be working less dates. He is not going to be doing as many house shows, live events. He will not be on every pay-per-view, which kind of makes sense in a way. It's not going to be quite the Brock Lesnar deal, but he will have matches at the 5 big pay-per-views, most likely both Saudi shows. He will have a match at Clash at the Castle, but the in-between pay-per-views, we won't see him in action. And as a wrestling fan, I'm actually okay with that. We don't need to see the top star on every single show. This is when you need to build up your other talent. This is when you need to utilize Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, RK Bro, the Usos. When she comes back, Charlotte Flair, Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, Bianca, Asuka, your Intercontinental and IC championships. So that means, the likes of Ricochet, Austin Theory, obviously Bobby Lashley, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, when they finally get him out of this ridiculous feud with what's his nuts, Ezekiel, Alexa Bliss on the women's side, Lacey Evans. You've got enough talent on this roster to be able to make pay-per-views must-see events and have good storylines without your main champion. Now, where it hurts WWE is having Roman Reigns holding both heavyweight championship belts. If he was just the Universal Champion, but the WWE Champion would still show up, that could help out a little bit. But do we really need to have, we saw it with WrestleMania Backlash. We had one championship match, and it was a really good championship match. It was the SmackDown Women's Championship match. That one, it couldn't carry the show. Had you not had the 6-man tag, had you not had Cody versus Seth 2, had you not had Edge versus AJ 2, the Charlotte Ronda match would not have been able to carry that pay-per-view. It was still good, but it wasn't strong enough to carry an entire show. So WWE is really going to have to take a look at things here. Now, does this mean we are supposedly going to get the return of John Cena next month? Is all of this coinciding with each other that, okay, Roman's not going to be around, but we're going to have John Cena? Are we getting one for the other? And where is John Cena going to plug into all this stuff? Is he just going to be thrown into some throwaway feuds again that make no sense? Is he just going to be there for star power? I'd be very interested to see. I don't know if it will happen. I'd be interested to see a John Cena Cody Rhodes match. I'd be interested in seeing John Cena versus this new version of Seth Rollins again. Once they get the third male member of the Judgment Day, which reportedly is going to be happening very soon, what if we got AJ Styles, Finn Balor, and John Cena versus Edge, Damian Priest, and whoever this third man is? You could have that match at a SummerSlam. I'd be okay with that. But WWE, they are going to have to do some creative things here coming up to make the product, continue to make the product interesting, because they've been in this cycle of spinning around the same things for the last couple of months, that if they don't start turning away from that very soon, they're going to start turning viewers off. And it's going to look like I said, they have no clue what they are doing. Well, you take a look at the whole Lacey Evans situation. They ran weeks and weeks of these inspirational promos from her, talking about her past, talking about the struggles she had, the things she had to overcome, drug abuse and other things, going into the Marines, her dad missing her NXT debut, and so many other things. And then all of a sudden, they're going to turn her heel. And all these promos, with the exception of the last one, aired exclusively on SmackDown, and now they're moving her to Raw. They're really stacking the women's roster on Raw, and they're leaving not a lot for Ronda Rousey to work with. Ronda's got Aaliyah, Shotzi, Raquel Rodriguez, Shayna Baszler, Natalya. That's what she's got over there. Not a lot to work with. Raw has Bianca, Becky, Asuka, Lacey Evans, Carmella, Zelina, Doudrop, Nikki ASH, Alexa Bliss. I know the draft is supposed to be coming up soon, but holy crap. The scales are... Oh, and Rhea Ripley. The scales are definitely in favor of Raw. SmackDown is most likely going to get Bayley. That could eventually be the Money in the Bank matchup for the SmackDown Women's Championship, is Ronda versus Bayley, with a Charlotte versus Ronda rematch probably at SummerSlam. Personally, I'd rather wait and not see that one for a while. Hello, Marcus. Hello, Howling Mad. How are you guys doing? But again, WWE has got to get out of this weird little cycle that they're in right now. Otherwise, they're going to have a lot of problems going into the second half of the year. Speaking of, well, you know what? Let's switch gears. I'm going to save the next WWE story for later. Let's switch over to AEW. And I can't say I was the first one to talk about this, but I know I was ahead of the game on a lot of other people talking about this. Blood and Guts is going to be returning for Double or Nothing. I've actually been saying it for about 4 weeks now. Ever since the debut of the Jericho Appreciation Society in the feud with Santana Ortiz and Kingston, I've been saying this is inevitably going to end up being a 5v5 match, Blood and Guts at Double or Nothing. But I wasn't sure who the other two guys are going to be. I thought Kingston would bring in, Hernandez and somebody else, getting all of LAX back together. But it doesn't look like Supermax is coming. It looks now like we've got LAX and the Blackpool Combat Club, which I'll take that and a bag of chips every day of the week. Kingston, Moxley, Danielson, and Santana and Ortiz. Oh, yeah, I will take that all day long. Now, some of you may be asking, hold on, wait a second. Hello, Katina. Hold on a second. What's happening with Wheeler Yuta? Well, Wheeler Yuta is going to be busy in Japan for a month, part of the Super Juniors tournament. So I believe when we saw him last Wednesday night, that is actually going to be no. I think he's got one more week. I think he's got one more week before he'd have to leave for Japan. Unless they want to send him out early just because of medical protocols. He may end up making an appearance this week on Dynamite, but I wouldn't be shocked if he did not. We will not most likely see Wheeler Yuta until after. Yeah, he won't be there for Double or Nothing. He should be back in time for the Forbidden Door show, I believe. I wouldn't be surprised actually if he came back to the Milwaukee Dynamite in June. I could see that happening where he'd actually appear at the Milwaukee Dynamite. But it looks like we're getting this sit down segment with William Regal and Jericho on Dynamite. They're going to announce Blood and Guts. And like I said, I've been talking about this one for weeks. There have been a few other ones out there too, but the big names in wrestling news, none of them have been talking about this until this week. Myself and a few other smaller accounts have been at the leading edge of this one, and it was just speculation. I was just throwing spitballs against the wall, but I'm glad that it looks like I'm going to be right on this one. That Blood and Guts will make its return for the second year in a row at Double or Nothing, and it will be Jericho Appreciation Society versus Blackpool Combat Club and LAX. Now, the reason why Jericho is going to be in this for the second year in a row, it was last year that they had the ill-fated MJF push off the top of the cage that everybody squawked about. So I think he wants to make good for that. With something bigger and better. And I don't think they're going to end up pulling a weird spot like that this year. We shall see. I mean, with the group that's going to be in there with Kingston, Moxley, those two right there, who knows what they're going to do. And Bryan Danielson has been known to do some crazy spots himself. And Jericho, I mean, even at 52 years old, Jericho will still bust out something crazy. So I'm excited for that. Oh my goodness. All right. So this just came out on PW Insider, and this is going to be a spoiler from the Impact TV tapings. So if you don't want to hear a spoiler, tune out for about 30 seconds here. An old Impact stable returned to the TV tapings in Florida tonight. Aces and Eights are back in Impact Wrestling. Wes Briscoe and Garrett Bischoff, accompanied by D'Lo Brown, returned, taking on Honor No More's Vincent and Kenny King, based on Honor No More attacking and taking out Brown months ago in Texas after the Hard to Kill pay-per-view. This is Bischoff's first appearance at Impact since November 2013. He's been wrestling on the Florida independent scene and for Doc Gallows' Lariato Pro Wrestling in Georgia. Briscoe last worked in Impact in 2013 as well. So 9 years later, and those two guys are back. I wonder if they're actually calling them Aces and Eights or not. It's not going to be the same without Bully Ray, but we shall see. Okay, that's interesting. Wasn't expecting that one tonight. All right, let's stick with, and it's funny, I actually just saw a picture of Joey Janela and MJF in a match with a moving car in a parking lot from 5 years ago today. Boy, some of the things MJF did on the independent scene are crazy. Well, speaking of MJF, who I gotta tell you, I had to absolutely love Dynamite this week, because it was Bizarro World Dynamite in Long Island, as CM Punk got treated like the top heel in the world, and MJF was cheered like a returning hero. Wardlow practically got booed out of the building. And if you have, before we get into the controversy, if you haven't seen the video, you have got to find the video on YouTube of after Dynamite and after the Rampage tapings from Long Island. They had MJF come back out into the ring, non-televised, and was talking up the crowd. CM Punk comes out, and then we get Hook with CM Punk. It is an 18-minute video, probably about 10 minutes worth of action. It was incredible, but you will see, and the guy that was recording the video said it perfectly, you're going to see the greatest sell job ever. If you haven't seen that video of CM Punk and Hook, you need to find it. It is great. It's a shame it will never see television, but it was great. And CM Punk proved why he is the best in the world, because it's not just wrestling. It's, even though it was just for the live crowd, he put over Hook so good, so well, and played the heel part to a T. It was beautiful. All right, so MJF, we've been talking about him a lot lately. He has been very vocal over the last couple of months that his contract with AEW is up in 2024. There have been the reports about him not being happy with being on his original AEW deal from 3 years ago, and this, that, and the other thing. And there was a heated conversation a few months ago between MJF and Tony Khan, but then they've worked things out. And then he had his promo on Dynamite this past week, which, you know, he referenced Cody Rhodes. He talked about 2024. I said this the other night on my broadcast, and I'm going to stick to it. MJF is playing all of us. He is playing his character to a T. MJF rarely ever breaks character. He did it live in Long Island after the show for the hometown fans. But when he does interviews, when he's not on air, he still stays in character. This is MJF being in character. Now, am I saying he's not going to leave AEW for WWE in 2024? No, I'm not saying that. But could he be playing both sides? Maybe. He could be starting a bidding war already, but it's still 2 years out. We don't know what's going to end up happening. You know, maybe MJF, you know, there could be a massive controversy with MJF that would, you know, that would knock the shine off of him, and maybe nobody would be interested in having him back or having him there. Maybe he'll get to the point where he is going to be too much for Tony Khan to be able to pay. You know, if he does get the reported run with the AEW championship that many people have been speculating, including myself, will happen either late this year or early next year, and he just knocks it out of the park, is that going to make his star rise even more? Is his stock going to get to be even hotter? You know, and what happens at that point? You know, if MJF does win the world championship, who's the one to beat him for it? Would it be a Wardlow? Would it be a Sammy Guevara, a Jungle Boy? You know, you'd have to think it would be a younger talent, or would it be? Would it be a veteran talent? Who knows? I'm just saying that this supposed controversy with MJF, I think, is blown out of proportion. He's borrowing from the book of Brian Pillman a little bit. You know, Brian Pillman, very well known, you know, once he started going loose cannon, he ended up playing both sides. It is well known, and I think it came out, was it Dark Side of the Ring? When they did Dark Side of the Ring for Pillman, it came out how he played WWE and WCW against each other. Brian, by the way, how was the Tweed run? How in the world did you ride your bike in a tweed jacket in 80-degree weather? I will never understand that one. Okay. Let me get to a couple of comments here real quick. Michael, how are you? My day's going good. Jonah had soccer today. Beautiful day for soccer. Wasn't a great game, but always fun to watch him. Didn't get anything accomplished around the house today because I just ended up taking a nap and getting caught up on some lost sleep. Howling Matt is watching NHL playoffs and UFC fights. Okay. I was going to watch Capital Collision tonight, NJPW. Forgot that it started at 6. I was actually supposed to go somewhere with my daughters tonight, but all three of us opted not to go this evening, which is fine. And then I realized that I missed the first hour of the show, so I decided not to bite the bullet on the $20 for that one. Though we'll see if the reviews for the IWGP United States Championship match, the 4-way, come out is really strong. I may purchase it just for that match. $20 just for one match. Well, and you got Kingston and Ishii as well, which would be a great match to watch. Okay, sorry, I got something on the TV and I don't remember this. as the opening scene from this movie. If this is what I think it is. I'm baffled. I guess maybe I need to go back and watch this movie again because, yeah, I don't remember this as the opening scene. This is interesting. Okay, I'm not going to get distracted. Sorry. Mizzy, good to see you as well. Yeah, we got Omizzy, we got Louie, we got Lucas, and we got Brian. Thank you very much, guys. Always appreciate it. As a reminder, let me throw this back up here again, if I can find it. In about 15 minutes, I will be doing the Ask John Anything segment. So please feel free to jump on in with that. You can either put it in the comments here, or if you want to email me, you can email me at WrestleScopeTV@gmail.com. And if you're watching the replay of this or listening to the audio podcast, you can always get questions in for next week. Again, the email is WrestleScopeTV@gmail.com. All right, let's continue on with AEW. And Hikaru Shida, it was reported a couple of days ago here, she was originally supposed to be in the Owen Hart Memorial Tournament, or the Owen Hart Foundation Tournament, quarterfinal match against Red Velvet. And then it was announced on Dynamite that she was not going to be able to be there. That because of the match that she had with Serena Deeb, that she was injured, and they announced on Rampage that it was going to be Chris Statlander taking her place. Well, Shida came out and tweeted, wait a second, I have wrestled 4 matches since this match, since the Philadelphia street fight, and I've been doing acting stuff. I'm not injured. What's going on? And then reports came out that, well, she was notified by AEW management that this was going to be happening, that she was going to be taken out of this. And then it was stated that she was in Japan and she wasn't going to be able to get clearance to be able to get back in time for the tournament. And it's all a big mess right now. But my thing is, if AEW knew that Hikaru Shida was not going to be available for this tournament, why do you put her in it? Now, maybe they found out after her qualifying match. I don't know. But, you know, with international talent, you have got to make sure you know well in advance what is going on. You have to know availability. Now, injuries do happen. Sicknesses do happen. I mean, we heard the story about Trent Beretta having to miss Capital Collision tonight because he contracted COVID, unfortunately. And hopefully Trent's going to be okay, and he'll be back soon. But you know, it's disappointing that he was going to end up having to miss what was going to be a great show. Oh, got another interesting one we may have to jump on here. Okay. But, you know, back to the whole Hikaru Shida thing. First of all, I'm disappointed because I really like Hikaru Shida. And I really wanted to see her in this tournament. It would have been nice to have seen one of the Japanese women move on because we know, if you watched Rampage yesterday, we know that Ruby Soho knocked off Riho. And it was Riho beating... who did she be? Yuka Sakazaki to get in to the tournament. So now there is not going to be any Japanese representation in the tournament, which is a shame because there are some quality Japanese women in AEW. And, you know, I'm very disappointed. They haven't, outside of the Serena Deeb feud, they have not really used Hikaru Shida very well since she lost the AEW Women's Championship. And I'm certainly hoping they're going to do more with her because she really is a great talent. And I love watching her wrestle. I love her style of wrestling. So I don't know if there was a miscommunication. I don't know if she's really upset with AEW, but we shall see. We'll see what comes out of this. Okay. Sticking with women, this one just came across from 411 Mania, and I find this interesting. In a post on Twitter, Paige replied to a tweet from WWE asking who should be Ronda Rousey's next opponent. She hinted at possibly becoming Rousey's manager. And Paige, just responded, manager maybe. It's kind of funny that this comes out today because I had said on Twitter last night that Ronda Rousey needs a manager. Oh, hold on. We have to stop everything right now. We have to stop the show. No. You got to put that on off screen. Hold on. So we've been waiting for this. We've been waiting for this moment. It's your favorite moment of the show. And we now have the true leader of the WrestleScope family. We're going to bring him in. It is, look at the camera. It is Positive One. Positive One is in the house. That's right. He is here. He is the exalted leader of the WrestleScope family. And he is here, mask and all. Looks kind of like a cone head because it's kind of a big mask. We couldn't find the -1 size one for him, but yep, the Positive One is in the house. So anything you'd like to share with the community out there today? Anything you'd like to say to them?
I don't know.
You don't know? One of these days we're going to make you co-host, but all right. Everybody say good night to Positive One. All right, good night, buddy. Love you. Yes, the exalted one, the leader of the WrestleScope Nation, has been revealed now. We now know where he is. Okay, so anyways, I had tweeted last night that Ronda Rousey, great in the ring, sucks on the mic, needs a manager. Yes, Paige, please give us Paige as Ronda Rousey's manager, and then Paige can turn on her eventually, and Paige be a challenger. Because she has been working her way back to the ring. This would be a way to get her back on TV and then give a another component or another competitor challenger to her title. Yes, please make it happen. All right, I want to see that happen. So if they do make it happen, I'm thinking that she will eventually turn on her. Oh, I don't know. Do I look at a spoiler? Do I look at a spoiler from Capital Collision for the main event? I'm going to. I have to see. Oh, actually, they got the whole card up. Oh, wow. I gotta scroll now. Darn it. I will not give spoilers if you don't want them. I've got to see. Oh, I am not surprised. Not surprised at all. Yep. I kind of had a feeling. Yep. Oh, and that actually takes me into our next topic. Are there troubles in New Japan Pro Wrestling? I don't have all of the details, but I know there are issues right now. Oh, shoot. Hang on a second. I'm going to switch gears, actually. I'll come back to that in a minute. Let's talk about the huge changes with Money in the Bank. If you have been watching WWE programming this past week, they've had the promos about Money in the Bank and being at Allegiant Stadium in in Las Vegas, and Cody Rhodes with the promo and everything. And on multiple occasions, he has mentioned in the promos that the winners of Money in the Bank will main event WrestleMania. Now, you all know this has not been the case before. It has always been, Money in the Bank. You have a contract that you can cash in anytime, anywhere for, a championship, blah, blah, blah. We all know that that's what it was. And the winner of Royal Rumble would get a championship. Well, not main, though they would say main event, would get a championship match at WrestleMania. Well, it appears they have switched gears with that for this year, and Money in the Bank, and they haven't, as far as I know, they have not referenced it on television. They have not referenced it on television yet, but the Money in the Bank winner is going to get the main event at WrestleMania. So that means both Saturday and Sunday, we will know at least one half of the main event matches for WrestleMania in 10 months. Is this a good thing? I believe in long-term booking. We had, the John Cena versus The Rock. They booked that for an entire year. We knew it for an entire year. I don't know if this is the right thing, because you're going to have Mr. Money in the Bank running around, Miss Money in the Bank running around for 10 months. They're going to be running around with this briefcase, and realistically, this briefcase is no longer going to mean anything. There's not going to be the surprise cash-ins. There's not going to be, the Dolph Ziggler moment, the Edge moments, those surprise moments that, the Seth Rollins heist of the century. We're not going to get those moments ever again, or at least this year. So I don't know if this is the right decision. And then what does the Royal Rumble winner get? Do they get a match at Elimination Chamber? Do they get a contract that they can cash in at any point in time? Or does it become a triple threat match automatically? Now, one way they could get around this booking wise, okay, in the women's division, okay, let's just say that Ronda Rousey and Bianca retain their championships. They are still the SmackDown and Raw women's champions per se at WrestleMania. And you have let's just say Rhea Ripley wins Money in the Bank. You can have Rhea Ripley go after Bianca, which means you could have a SmackDown woman win the Royal Rumble. Or it could be anybody, and they go after that SmackDown championship. So you're safe there, but there's no longer the main event. Now, on the men's side, the problem we run into is with Roman Reigns owning both championships. Now, it could become a scenario where it's a triple threat. I don't believe Roman Reigns is going to walk out of Royal Rumble as a dual champion. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I believe Cody Rhodes is going to beat him for a title. It will not be the unified title. He will somehow become the champion for the WWE championship, or, and he will bring back the Winged Eagle. There have been rumors that he wants to bring back the Winged Eagle, which I'd be very interested to see. And then that could set up for, well, see, that would still be an issue though, because if they're talking about Rock Roman for WrestleMania 39, you're not going to have The Rock win Money in the Bank. I could see an Austin Theory winning Money in the Bank this year. I could really see that happening. It's either going to be Theory or Cody. And if it's Cody, then he's not going to win the title obviously at Royal Rumble. It will wait until WrestleMania next year. They're going to have to do some interesting things. But again, I don't like this idea. I don't like that this contract is going to walk around for 10 months and it's guaranteed we know they're in the main event at WrestleMania. No surprises again. I don't like it. I don't like it. It's not because it's change. I just don't think it's correct booking, to be quite honest. All right, one more topic to get to before we get to Ask John Anything. Back to the troubles in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And there have been reports that have come out this week that there is some major issues between Kota Ibushi and New Japan Pro Wrestling and their management. And all of it is kind of subject to translation from Japanese, but Kota Ibushi is ticked off at certain management of New Japan Pro Wrestling because they wanted him to come back early last December from an injury, and things just are not going well there. He has been making some statements, and it sounds like he wants to actually kind of break bad on New Japan Pro Wrestling and talk about how they, they could actually be involved with the Yakuza and so many other things. I don't have details here, but I'll tell you, it is looking like a very ugly situation. And some big stories could be breaking out of this. And Kota Ibushi, it sounds like he has basically burned every bridge possible in Japan. That his days of wrestling in Japan are over. Which, may not be a bad thing because, hey, Kota Ibushi in AEW would be great. But the only problem is Kota Ibushi burns bridges with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Is AEW going to want to bring him in if they've got a new relationship with them? Probably not. Kota Ibushi did have a cup of coffee in WWE. You may have forgotten he was in the Cruiserweight Classic, the original Cruiserweight Classic, and was actually earmarked to win it, but did not want to sign a long-term deal with WWE, so he did not win it. And I don't know. Kota Ibushi in WWE, I just don't think would be good. I mean, you look at what they have done, with the male Japanese talent, and it just hasn't been good. It has not been good. Now, he could go to Mexico. He could go to Impact. There's a lot of options for him, but there is so much more coming to this story. So much more. I think we have literally just seen the tip of the iceberg of this story. And this could be, depending on what Kota Ibushi comes out with as far as statements and accusations against New Japan Pro Wrestling, and if anybody backs him up on it, wow, it could turn Japanese wrestling on its ears. And I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what comes out of this. I'm not a huge fan of controversy in wrestling, especially things like this, but who the heck knows what's going to happen? Really. The positive one has made an appearance again in the studio. He's cut through the other door. All right. Let us open things up now to the Ask John Anything segment. We got about 10 minutes left in the show. So again, if you are watching on replay, if you're listening to the audio podcast, obviously you can't get involved in this right now, but you can next week. You can email your questions to WrestleScopeTV@gmail.com. But if you are on the live right now, hey, jump on in, ask me anything. Yeah, we're not going to screen anything quite yet. Well, maybe we will. I don't know. We'll see. And we'll get to your questions for the last 10 minutes of the show. Louis, can't wait to see your vlog. He went to his first indie show in the UK today. Cannot wait to see that that vlog. Definitely let me know when it's up, and I will share that on the channel so we could talk about that. Be great to see. Brian did message in about his tweed ride, Chicago 2022. Yeah, it was hilarious seeing the pictures that you posted early on of, dressing up in tweed and being on your bike in 80-degree weather. Gotta love it. Yeah, go ahead and ask me whatever you want. It could be wrestling, it could be non-wrestling. We'll talk about all those things here in the next 7 to 8 minutes. I'm still not going to give any spoilers from Capital Collision, though. It sounds like the main event was absolutely fantastic. All right, so I'll ask you something here. Coming out of Rampage last night, so they had teased a breakup of the team of All Ego, Ethan Page, and Scorpio Sky. And, it looked like Scorpio Sky was going to go babyface after the whole thing with Sammy Guevara. He had his match last night with Frankie Kazarian, and then he went full-fledged heel, and Sammy Guevara got involved at the end. Are they going to try pushing Sammy Guevara back as a babyface again? And if they do, are you going to willingly accept Sammy Guevara back as a babyface again? I don't know. I think they need to get Sammy away from the TNT Championship. There are so many other talent that Scorpio Sky could go out there and wrestle and defend that belt against, that Sammy doesn't need to be there. Okay. Louis, great question. What wrestler got me into wrestling? It wasn't so much a particular wrestler. I've shared this story before. I started watching wrestling back in the late 1970s. I was just a wee little WrestleScope back then. And the only thing that I was able to watch was AWA wrestling. And it showed up, it was on Saturday mornings, Sundays, locally on, I think it was on channel 4 for a while. And then it was on channel 18 here. Brian, you can back me up on this if you remember that. But there wasn't a particular wrestler. It was just kind of, I had never seen anything like that before. There was Baron von Raschke, Nick Bockwinkel, a young Greg Gagne, the Crusher, guys like that. That's what first introduced me to wrestling. The guy that really made me fall in love with wrestling, though, was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Back when he first, not when he first came into WWE, but when he, no, actually it was his first time in WWE. Was late 1984, early 1985. And it was stupidly because he was announced from being from Hawaii, and me being born in Hawaii. Hey, there's a Hawaiian wrestler. And I liked Bruce Lee, the Dragon. Hey, I like this guy. I also liked Don the Rock Morocco too, because he was from Hawaii, but it was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. See, I'd go the other way, Louis. I would accept Ty, but not Sammy. And that's just because I was a Ty Conti fan before this whole thing. So, Favorite top 5 comedians. That's a hard one, Marcus, because I'm not really much into comedians. Back in the day, I liked Sam Kinison, Andrew Dice Clay, and George Carlin. Okay. Andrew Dice Clay, not so much. His stuff has not aged well. But Sam Kinison, God rest his soul. Sam Kinison, I'd like to go back and watch some of his stuff again. Hey, yeah, it's a lot of it's not appropriate for now, but hey, this was the mid to late 80s going into the early 90s. Sam Kinison had his music video that came out. He was involved with Brian, what was her name? Jessica, what's her name? The one that had the was she the one that was involved with Gary Hart? Not the wrestler, or the manager, but the senator Gary Hart had the Playboy spread. And what the heck was her name? Jessica. Brian, you should remember this one. I would hope. Boy, yeah, I just don't get into a lot of comedy right now. Jeff Dunham, though. I really like Jeff Dunham. JD McGinnis, JCW. No, I don't. Howling Man, yep, 1990 Undertaker. Yeah, when he first came out. I never really could get into Dennis Leary too. I prefer Dennis Leary as an actor over comedian and commentator. I really like Dennis Leary's acting. Was never really into him as a wrestler, or as a comedian. Eddie Murphy. Yeah, Eddie Murphy Raw is still, man, the standard bearer for comedy shows, without a doubt. Did I watch the Shockmaster's debut live? Yes, I did. I remember watching that live and laughing my butt off. Watching the former Tugboat fall through the wall, lose his helmet, and Sid and Sting and Bulldog all just standing there. Ric Flair trying desperately not to laugh at this dude. And talk about a botched introduction. First of all, Sting trying to play this guy up, and our tag team partner, he's going to shock the world. He's the Shock Master. That is typical. What was that? 1995? Yeah, that was 1994, 1995. That was typical 1995 WCW. They were trying to compete with the cartoonish crap that the WWF was doing at the time. And, that was because they had Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage come over. And 1995 was a very, very dark year in the world of professional wrestling. Not just WWF, but WCW were both really, really bad in 1995. That is a year I wish we could kind of, take and just completely lock away, never to be seen again. I can't, honestly, and I'd have to look back, and I'm going to do this real quick. I don't think anything good came out of 1995 pro wrestling. But we're going to see, because I'm actually doing a Google search on it right now. 1995 pro wrestling, the year in pro wrestling. Let's see what they have to say. Oh, they've got a lot of matches listed here. No real. Okay. Here, 1995. Pro Wrestling Illustrators Honors and Awards. Wrestler of the Year, Diesel. Match of the Year, Diesel Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 11. Most Inspirational Wrestler of the Year, Barry Horowitz. Rookie of the Year, Alex Wright. So that tells you a lot right there. All right. Title changes. Let's see. Let's take a look at title changes. You have the WCW World Heavyweight Champion was Hulk Hogan, lost it to the Giant in his debut, the stupid monster truck thing. Then the title was vacated with Randy Savage winning it, and then Ric Flair winning it right after that. Let's see. They ended the year with One Man Gang as the U.S. champion. Johnny B. the Renegade was the TV champion for 3 months. You know, the Ultimate Warrior ripoff. The American Males, Marcus Bagwell and Scotty Riggs, were the tag team champions for, a week and a half. In the WWF, Diesel was the champion until Survivor Series when Bret Hart beat him. The IC championship actually was pretty good. You know, Jeff Jarrett held it 3 times. Razor Ramon held it 3 times. 2 times. There was the ill-fated Dean Douglas championship reign. Oh, that's right. Shawn Michaels was supposed to defend against Dean Douglas, but that was when he got his butt kicked in that bar in Syracuse, New York by a bunch of Marines, and he had to relinquish the title to Dean Douglas, and Razor Ramon won it that night. Bertha Faye was the WWE Women's Champion for 2 months in WWF. Oh my goodness. The tag team division actually wasn't too bad. And we saw the debut at the end of that year of the Ringmaster. Oh, in 1995. No, this can't be. She's got to be older than that. Well, no, wait. No, 95. No, that'd be 20. Yeah. Ty Conti was born in 1995. Her birthday's coming up June. Uh-oh. My 100th day is Ty Conti's birthday. Oh, boy. And what's funny, another name that popped up here that I have forgotten about, and I don't know where this person is now. Let's see. Yeah, his Wikipedia page doesn't have anything. The Velveteen Dream. Oh, have the mighty have fallen. After the allegations that came out against him in 2020. And I'm not going to talk about the allegations, but there was some sexual harassment allegations, and he has not been seen ever since. He was released almost a year ago now, May 20th, 2021. And haven't seen hide nor hair of him anywhere in wrestling. So, yeah, kind of interesting there. But 1995, was a really bad year in the world of wrestling. Things were starting to turn around at the end of the year. Like I said, we saw the debut of Stone Cold Steve Austin, though he was the ringmaster. That changed pretty quickly. So, yeah. Do I even want to mention that? That is a terrible gimmick right there, Louie. That is absolutely terrible. That's a guy that, quite honestly, I never really could get into his character. I didn't think he was that great of a professional wrestler. Especially his last go around in NXT. I thought he looked very sloppy. I was shocked that guys did not get hurt in the ring with him because he didn't look that good, to be perfectly honest. And that's just my opinion. This has nothing to do with any allegations against him or whatever. It was just him as an in-ring performer. I was never a fan of his at all. So, all right. If you want to get your questions in for next week's show, again, you can email them to WrestleScopeTV@gmail.com. Yeah, boy, June 9th is turning into an interesting day now that we know it's Ty Conti's birthday. Maybe. I know they're not going to break up, but maybe we have Ty Conti not be on air with Sammy Guevara. Ty Conti becomes a babyface again. We get Ty J back together as a tag team, and the world will be all right. That would make me very, very happy. But we shall see. All right. Well, I want to thank each and every one of you for this is a good one. Favorite Mania match of all time. Oh, boy. That is a tough one. I immediately go to WrestleMania 3, Ricky Steamboat, Randy Savage. But the only reason why I don't think it is the best WrestleMania match of all time was the finish. I hated the fact that George the Animal Steele was involved in that match. It should have just been Savage and Steamboat. You don't need George Steele. People tend to forget about that. That is what ruined an absolutely incredible match, is having him involved in it. Had you just let it be Savage and Steamboat, it would have been the greatest WrestleMania match ever. But that little tiny involvement of George the Animal Steele stains it for me. Storytelling wise, it's really hard not to say HBK versus Ric Flair, the retirement match. The ending of that match was just beautiful. Either of the two, WrestleMania 25 or 26, Undertaker, HBK. So, realistically, though, my four favorite WrestleMania matches of all time, Ricky Steamboat, Randy Savage, WrestleMania 3, and WrestleMania 24, 25, 26 of Shawn Michaels. Ric Flair, the retirement match, then the two matches against The Undertaker. Those are my four favorite of all time right there. There's been some other great ones as well, but it's really, my personal opinion, those are my four favorite. Yeah, of the two Taker HBK matches, that WrestleMania 25 one was slightly better than 26, but just slightly. 26 was not as clean as 25 was. 25 was just a master class in storytelling and two veterans just doing an incredible job. And that's why it's up there for me. Definitely. All right. I am going to jump out of here now. Thank you very much again, everybody, for tuning in this week. Again, if you're watching watching on the replay or listening to the audio podcast, I greatly appreciate it. As a reminder, please go to our bio wherever you're watching or listening to this and check out the link tree. All of our social media is on there as well. I have just started a Discord server. I haven't put anything into it yet. I'm going to be populating some stuff and coming up with some different channels on it this coming week. If you have suggestions for me of things you'd like to see on the Discord server, let me know. Let me know. It's just going to be another opportunity for us to communicate and talk about things. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to be putting on there, but if you've got ideas and suggestions, you can either email me, you can DM me, whatever. I would just love to be able to connect even more with everybody out there. But definitely check out the link tree, the Patreon page, which again, I haven't done much with in the last month. Just because of the current work situation, but I'm going to be working on that in the next couple of weeks. And as always, the Amazon wish list is there, and we have Positive One has his mask now. But if you want to get another mask for him, or if you want to get some more for me, I don't even know. I think he took it upstairs with him. Yeah, I think he took the mask upstairs with him. Oh boy, yeah, he's gonna have fun with that. But yeah, that's there as well. So thank you very much again for tuning in. I will be back on Sunday with day number 75. It's kind of a momentous occasion, day number 75 in a row. Tomorrow may be the day we talk about more about ideas of how in the world am I going to do day 80 when I'm chaperoning a field trip in Chicago all day long. Still trying to figure that one out. All right. Have a great night, everybody. Have a great week. Thank you for tuning in for WrestleScope Weekly. The weekly podcast will return next week, Saturday, again, live on all these same WrestleScope channels. Have a great night, everybody. We will talk to you next week.